It's Baby and Mary, we know you have been waiting, so here's another podcast about movies, burn after watching.
Welcome everyone to the Burn After Watching podcast.
Hello. I'm Mary.
And I'm Borderland. Today we talk about the highly anticipated Yorgos Lanthimos movie.
Poor thing.
Woo! 6 months we've been waiting for this. We've been hearing about it. We've been wanting to see it, and finally we
Saw it.
And it's pretty good.
It did not disappoint us, but first...
Yes, before we talk about this, we're going to talk about everything we watched in the last 2 weeks. And before we even talk about that, subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We also now on Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcast, something like that. Ooh. Amazon Podcasts. Hello. We are everywhere. We go in global.
Let's get started.
Let's get started because we have a lot to talk about. The first thing we watch, The Batman, Matt Reeves. 2022, The Batman by Matt Reeves with Robert Pattinson as the Batman. Woo! This is a rewatch for us. This is the second time we watched it this year. The Dark Knight was for a long time my favorite film of all time. This is when I was a bit younger. For people that love Batman, The Dark Knight was at some point for them their favorite movie of all time. I was so excited to see the new version because I was not a big fan of the Ben Affleck Batman. And this is something I can get into.
You loved it.
Woo,
I loved it too.
It's moody. It rains non-stop. I love that.
He did a great job. I loved him.
And he obviously played a younger Batman.
Yes.
You know, I don't love superhero movie at all, especially all the Marvel stuff. It's just so rinse and repeat. It's very much the same thing over and over again. The style is the same. There's no visual identity to some of those films. It just feels like they all look the same, but Batman have a lot of visual identity. I think they feel a different way.
I also loved the villain, which is the Riddler in that movie. He's so scary. The first time you see him with his mask on, like a full face, like not leather, but I don't know. I don't even know the material, but he's so scary.
It's like a Russian gas mask or something that he's wearing. For the majority of the film, he has a mask on, and as soon as he takes off the mask, I really didn't like it at first. The first time I watched this film, I was like, I don't know. And he sing Ave Maria, and I was like,
I still don't like that.
Yeah, it feels like
forced a bit.
Yeah, it feels like, ooh, like he's this weird, he's
nerdy.
this weird villain, and he sing things, and it's like it's weird. But the second watch now, I would say that
it works.
It works a little bit better. I do appreciate it. It's kind of like I'm warming up to it, and the scary part of the Riddler, which I really like, is that it's kind of like using this online fringe community aspect where
exactly
that this is very real,
very interesting. But what I prefer is really the moment when we don't see him, the whole time we don't see his real face. Gosh, he's very scary. I liked it, and I like the concept of the riddles.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And I love that they, the few people that had the chance to direct Batman movie are going in with different villains. Obviously, the Joker, we want to see the Joker. The Joker is the villain that you want to see. But I love that Christopher Nolan went with Scarecrow. Matt Reeves went with the Riddler, which is also another big villain.
I also loved Colin Farrell as the Penguin. He's really good.
It's awesome. And I love that he's just like a old man with a pointy nose, but he's the Penguin. It was a great way to do it. He's actually getting a TV show.
Oh, really?
A Penguin TV show that will be on HBO Max.
And that scene, the car chase.
Ooh.
Oh, that's so good. That is such a great scene.
It's fucking badass.
And when Batman comes out of his car and the shot is kind of upside down. Gosh, it's so good.
A lot of really cool shot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, it's a big save. If you haven't seen it yet, I understand it's every couple of years a new Batman come around. This is one worth going into. New film, the second one will be coming in maybe 2-3 years. So you have the time to pick this one up, let's watch it. It's a 3-hour film. It's not short by any mean.
Goes
but it's
by
great.
Fast though. And a special mention to at the very end, we see Barry Keoghan as the Joker.
Very quickly.
And it was announced and confirmed that he will be playing the next Joker. And we're really excited by that because we love him, all his performances. Great movie. I would definitely save it as well.
Yes, 4 out of 5 for me.
Me too.
Let's go to the next one. We were kind of in this mood. We were like, let's watch like criminal, like dark and gritty, like, action. Not too much action, but like we wanted to watch this. So we watched The Town, Ben Affleck film from 2010.
Sorry. We had both already seen it.
Yeah, just a quick rewatch there. I didn't like it as much as I remember.
Me neither.
I would say the Fenway Park sequence is really all I need in this film. That no, I mean, like, it's this is where the movie really cash off. Like, to be honest, the whole love story is very cliche and cheesy, and I didn't love it. I didn't need it.
But at the same time, it would be a 15 minutes movie. So
yeah, but like
I kind of understand what you mean.
I wouldn't mind like just make a film where the entire 1 hour and a half of the film is one heist from the beginning to end. Like, that would be interesting. That you don't get those pauses, just like nonstop heist.
Ben Affleck is pretty good in that movie. I liked him, but it didn't age very well. I remember at first when I saw it, the scene where they're wearing kind of the nuns. Yeah. I was like, oh gosh,
it's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. But now it's like, okay. Yeah. So I think I have to burn it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, it's a 3 out of 5 for me. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, I'd say like it's worth watching, but I don't think if it's worth rewatching. I'm gonna save it. Let's go to the next one. Oh yes.
Okay,
everybody.
Alex has been harassing me.
I've been harassing her
to watch the Lego movie.
Okay, listen, I've seen...
This is a 10-year-old movie almost.
Yeah, 2014.
I thought it was kind of new.
I've seen this in theater when it came out. I went and I was like, I'm in. Lego movie, I'm in. And it blew my mind when I saw it first because it's, if you haven't seen this, like animation wise, it's
very good. Oh yeah, it's so good.
And the attention to detail that the two director Phil Lord and Christopher Miller is awesome. If you played with Lego when you were young, there's a lot of detail, and one of the really like obvious one is the spaceman Lego. When you bought it, there was a helmet you could put on his head, but because of the piece was kind of very tight, a lot of time the front of the helmet would break and it was just a little cut, and they actually did that in the film. And it's like those little things. Also, like eventually there's a ghost Morgan Freeman wizard, and what they did is that they put him on a little string, and like when you were young, when you wanted to have a character like float, you would put him on a string and you would like make him like float like this. I love this aspect of like almost like nostalgia of like what it's like to play with Lego. Bring this into the animation. They could have went just a regular animated movie.
So I watched the Lego movie.
Yes,
that was your first time in 2014. So it was a rewatch for you.
Yeah, I watched it a few times since.
And I watched it for the first time. It was actually better than I thought it would be. It was cute. It was smart. It was fun. It was a bit much. Like I had kind of a headache at the end because there is a lot of colors, a lot of action, very intense. Have to save the world from
Lord business.
Yes. It was fun. I mean, it's cute. I will not be rewatching this anytime soon.
Okay. So we need to watch the Batman Lego movie. Because Batman is the best part of this film.
Darkness. I only wear black, sometimes dark gray. No parents. Yeah, we laughed. I laughed a lot. It was
It's a great just time if you want to unplug your brain for a couple of hours.
The tools they use to harm the other Legos are like a Band-Aid, toothpaste,
the crazy glue. It's fun.
That was cute and smart. It was really cool. I liked it. I would save it. And I would give it a 3 out of 5.
It's a 3.5 out of 5 for me. It's a big save. Loved it. And the next one.
Oh, okay.
Godzilla Minus One.
Yes.
The new Godzilla movie from Japan, not the American one. I had seen the previous one. You haven't?
No.
And?
I loved it. I was so surprised.
Wow.
It's such a great movie.
I guess you're used to like when you have a big monster, like you're waiting for the monster to show up, and then in between, especially the American film, you're waiting for Godzilla to show up, and when Godzilla's not there, it's like you're just waiting for the story to like bring back Godzilla.
But the characters were so well built, a great story, very touching, and both of us were crying
like babies
in the end. It was so touching.
That's the thing, right?
You care, yeah.
For Godzilla to be menacing, you have to care about the people that are trying to survive the attack.
Right.
And I think that's it. Like in the American one, sometimes I'm just like, fuck yeah, Godzilla, destroy the city right now.
Rooting for Godzilla.
Yeah, I want Godzilla to, because that's the fun part. And it's just people that have no name in the film. They're just there to kind of die. Here you have, first of all, post World War II Japan. Great place to start the film. Great settings, a lot of things. Also, Godzilla is a huge metaphor for the for the nuclear war, but also post-war Japan. So much interesting things there.
I didn't know that. You told me about it, and I was like, oh, okay, this makes so much sense, and it gave more sensibility to the story.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that it was because when we came back from seeing Godzilla, like the day after, I think we tried to watch the one from 2018. Is that it?
I think it's 2018, Shin Godzilla.
And it was well, first of all, we couldn't find the Japanese version.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was
it was dubbed. Yeah,
it was, gosh, I just couldn't get into the story, and it was very different as well. So that one, oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah, so Shin Godzilla is in modern time, and it's what they're using Godzilla for is a metaphor for more like climate change and also the government's inefficiency to respond to problems.
The idea wasn't bad, but I felt there was so much discussion, and I get it that it's to show the, but it was kind of it's a little bit boring.
And what I like about Godzilla Minus One is that the character you really care about, and the main character is a kamikaze pilot that didn't actually go through. And the Godzilla also represent a PTSD kind of thing where he's waking up, he's dreaming about Godzilla, and for him it's like the nightmare of war keeping him continuing to chase him. And that's plus, interesting.
Because he didn't do his job, a lot of other people got killed, so he carries with him those pictures of the family that got killed. It's a very interesting way to show his PTSD.
Gosh, like Godzilla Minus One is that's what blockbuster should be. Just it's fun, it's Godzilla, and like the Godzilla itself,
and
is
even
awesome.
Yeah, and my mom came with us, and she loved it. She thought it was a great movie. I'm definitely saving this movie. Big save. I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Same thing for
I
me.
would never expect to say this.
Yeah.
It was a great movie, and I would definitely rewatch it.
Yes.
And Godzilla himself, not him, but itself. When he's in the water and you kind of see the back, it made me think so much about first time I ever saw Jaws.
Yeah.
And it's so good. He's so menacing.
Gosh, and
oh gosh,
and the nuclear blast. The first time he used it, and his scale just boom, 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 boom. No.
Yeah, we had a good time.
One of the best films of the year, to be honest. Like it's not gonna be a top 5, but it could be a top 10 movie for me.
I agree with you. I loved it.
Awesome.
Next up.
Ooh, okay, that's an interesting one. I don't remember why you weren't there, but I was. I had some time alone.
I was gone with my brother.
And last episode we talked about May December, the new Todd Haynes film. Great film. Recommend. Big recommendation from both of us. One of the big inspiration or influence for May December is Persona by Ingmar Bergman, the Swedish director. I've seen this when I was in film school.
That's a
long time
ago. It's an old movie,
1966. Old film.
I never heard of this movie, and I had no idea it was connected with May December or inspired by.
Big influence. If you watch Persona, you'll definitely see how even the poster of May December is directly influenced by some of the shot from Persona. Quickly, the story is an actress has kind of a personality crisis, and she decides to stop talking because she feels like she's been lying. She has a nurse taking care of her. So the nurse and her move to like a beach house and they live together there. The nurse for the first time kind of feel like she can be listened to, because normally she's just kind of going through life, just kind of checking, the boxes, like, I'm going to get a husband, I'm going to get some kids, I have a career, I went to school. And for the first time, because she's with someone that can't talk, she's just talking, and kind of can explore the thing that she feels guilty about, and a bunch of like interesting exploration of her life. The both of them start to merge. They start to share a lot of trait of personality. The nurse become more and more like the actress, to a point where when the husband of the actress come visit her, it's actually the nurse that first show up, and the husband thinks that's his wife. And then she's like, no, I'm not your wife. And it's like, what are you saying? What are you saying? And then eventually she starts believing herself that she is his wife, and just have a full conversation and kiss him and as if she was the actress. Interesting kind of exploration of the duality of personalities and how people built their persona.
Did you love it?
I liked it. It's regarded as one of the best films of all time.
I feel that the idea for 1965 is avant-garde. It's very interesting. Is it still, a good movie?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Visually, it's cool. Really nice.
The story's good.
The story's interesting. The big problem is that there's a lot of like film school, putting quotation here for the listener, film school kind
Shots.
of like abstract stuff. Like there's like a 5 minutes montage at the beginning of just abstract, people laying in bed naked, and then flash of lights, and people look at a mirror and touching the mirror. It like very, and there's probably like super deep meaning, but like to me it felt like a bit pretentious film school stuff, and it comes back a few times. And that I didn't like. There was a lot of really cool thing they did with like the core and the visual, like the actual like props, the place that they are. There's a lot of interesting thing. They use shades, like see-through shades in the house. Very interesting to show through those shades, and it's like this. It becomes this mirage kind of look.
Okay.
It's interesting. I'm happy I rewatched it in the context of May December. It's not a film that I feel like, oh my God, it's like the best film of all time. Like, I understand why people might like it. I'm going to save it. I think if you like May December, give it a watch. All right. Pirate of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. This is the first pirate movie. I remember watching this when I was young. This is another film that I watched a lot when I was young, and being very scared of like the skeleton stuff.
Yeah, there is, very scary, weird as a child or kind of teenager. To me, I mean, it was good. It was a good, entertaining story.
Yeah, it does its job.
Yeah, but to me, like Johnny Depp, his role as kind of silly, dorky.
Oh, I like that.
It's okay, but it gets on my nerves a bit.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really? Huh?
Yeah, and Keira Knightley is kind of just there to be pretty in this movie. I don't know. It was good. It's good, but in the end, at the very end, I was like, okay, this is long. I felt that there was a lot of combat, like battles with the swords and everything. I was like, okay. And the guy that loses his eye like a few times, I'm like, okay. Like at first it's funny, but then it gets like a little bit repetitive, and then maybe this is why it's for not child.
I mean, it's for family. I think for a family entertainment, I prefer this over like the movie we're getting now for family, which I feel like are so like like I don't know, blah. I mean, I guess it was superhero movies are like replace those kind of film. It
was good.
Yeah,
it was good, but
it's fun.
A little bit long.
I agree. In my head before watching it, give it a star rating. I would say like 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
And I bump it down to 3.5.
Yeah, me it's 3. I would save it though. I wouldn't burn it. It's a good classic. And
I would argue the second one is
maybe
not
better.
Better.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it.
To me, it's a lot of people think it's bad.
Oh yeah.
I think it's either as good or just below as good as the first one. If you like,
which one is the one with the guy that's kind of like octopus face?
I think it's the second one and the third one. That's Davy Jones.
I like that.
It's a good time. Like that's the type of film I can watch
once every 20 years. No.
No, like every 3 years.
Yeah. Oh boy.
This one, I have beef.
Yeah, me too. So, Maestro. Directed by Bradley Cooper. He also
with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh,
it
does so much. It's trying to do so much. It's a biopic, first of all.
Yeah, from Leonard Bernstein.
Yes.
A composer. It has a lot of buzz right now. This just released on Netflix 2 days ago for us, so about a week for you guys.
I think the best part of this movie is
Carey Mulligan.
Exactly. She is great.
Wow.
Great in this movie. And so she's playing his wife.
Yes.
So basically it's his story, but we don't learn much from him, that much. I feel that the story was mostly based on the fact that he was bisexual or homosexual.
Yeah.
And his wife knows, and so they have this agreement where he can, I guess, just spend time or sleep with other men, and as long as he's just discreet.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the story based on that.
Yes. It's a lot more about the man than the work. Like it's not you do hear a lot of his music because they use it as a soundtrack for the film, which we both didn't love how they did, right? Sometimes it felt like they just put a song
without thinking of the emotion of that scene.
I think they were trying to be a bit unusual by putting some song in non-traditional places, and it didn't work for me. I get it, but it didn't work for me.
Many dance scene that automatically we were thinking about La La Land, which we adore, but it was a diet version, and like you said on our Instagram, of La La Land. It very, very kind of weird, and even him dancing felt very stiff.
Yeah, you look very... So the first, I would say about 45 minutes an hour is in black and white, and this is where you get a lot of La La Land-esque scene and shot where they use a lot of his music. And like you said, Bradley Cooper has to dance, and it's very stiff and awkward. Like when you compare it to the way that a Ryan Gosling would be...
Ooh, mama.
So like...
natural.
Yeah.
Natural. He's
gracious
so good at
when he's dancing. But
obviously, I don't mind that. I'm not here to see Bradley Cooper dance.
But
it was
gonna
just
dance.
kind of weird.
It just
so
felt
weird.
very, very like as if they didn't practice almost.
Also, I have a huge problem with the shot of him at the very end. It's in red and he's sweating, like he's totally wet, dancing with. So he's like 70 years old.
One thing is that Bradley Cooper wear a lot of prosthetic because
to make him
he looks a lot different. And there's prosthetic to make him look older and older over the film, but you also have a added nose, and also I think like different, like he changed the shape of his face a bit.
Oh yeah. And so in almost the end of the movie, there's a shot in red. He's in a nightclub.
Yep.
He is wet. He is sweating because he's dancing with a younger man. And I was like, why? Why though? Such a weird scene. It was to me, it was completely useless, and it kind of took me out of the movie.
Yeah, I think there's
unnecessary
some pacing issues. The last 5 minutes of the film are just so out of place. It totally takes away all the emotion that was getting built up. Even the last shot of the film is just so visually doesn't work with the rest of the film. It's a totally different visual style, totally different visual language. It just doesn't work. It's not cohesive. I think Bradley Cooper do a pretty good job. I think sometimes it's like, wow, like I can't even see Bradley Cooper here. He's like a different person. And sometimes it's like it looks like a guy, the voice or something like doesn't really.
Yeah, the voice.
Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Carey Mulligan is like impeccable.
I would burn this movie. I'm sorry.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I'm going to have to burn it.
I'm going to burn it too because I think it's not worth watching. But you will hear about this film, and you're going to be tempted to watch it because it looked like the type of film that would be very good.
Yes, I agree. But
no. 3 out of 5.
Yes.
And you know what? I was even thinking,
me too.
Should I lower it to 2.5?
Me too.
It really feel like this guy saw La La Land in 2017. He was like, oh, that's how I win Oscar. I'm just going to do that. And then it took him 3 years to do it. And then he's releasing it now.
And it's messy.
And he's going to win.
Overall, it's messy.
Bradley Cooper recently, you haven't seen the movie Burnt.
No.
Which is a cook movie. He's a cook. And It's very typical. Like if you've seen a kind of a chef that has fallen out of his grace and is
I'd rather
coming
watch
back.
Pig than
No. But it's good. It's
Yeah.
good. Burnt is really good. It's the poster is terrible. The cook with the ends crossed in front of a kitchen, like the most basic shit you ever seen. But the film is actually good, and that's the movie that made me like Bradley Cooper. Except he speaks French and it's terrible.
Un peu plus sauce aussi, hein? Pourquoi pas?
Okay,
It's Dan. It's time for Dan.
it's time for Dan again. He's my best friend.
Great person.
Yes, but he loves watching odd movie,
Oh, yeah.
and today he's going to talk to us about a movie. We have no idea what it is. Let's get
Let's
into
find out.
This week's episode, Pearl Harbor.
Oh, wow.
Just finished watching it. My eyes gonna be a little red and puffy.
Oh,
I don't know what it is. The combination of Josh Hartnett, who's an absolute heartthrob, and Ben Affleck together.
Ben Affleck's in there.
yeah.
Their chemistry alone is palpable. I feel like I can taste my tears. They are very salty. This movie, huge cast: Dan Aykroyd, Michael Shannon, Ben Affleck, Josh Hartnett, Alec Baldwin, Cuba Gooding Jr.
No, I remember that.
I saw this movie, I think when it first came out, and the most memorable scene, even to this point, nothing with the crying, which there's a lot of moments of crying, but Cuba Gooding Jr. On top of the Navy ship with this machine gun thing that goes over. It's like two giant C's with the single gun, and he's just firing on this thing, just shooting down the enemy pilots, and he's just screaming like an absolute madman. Just the best. That's the absolute best. With a lot of these movies where there are pilots, they always go by colors: red one, blue one, green one. Why don't pilots in the world go by fancier colors?
Oh.
Gold 1, teal 2,
Teal.
maroon 5. Nothing but good things to say. I think I've seen this movie like 10 times at this
really?
point.
Saw it twice.
But
I don't think I only seen
at the
once.
beginning, why would Josh Hartnett date his dead buddy's girlfriend? Like that's breaking all the codes. Like it must break all the codes. It's only been 3 months and they just moved on and they started dating.
That's weird.
Craziness. Anyways, Pearl Harbor, 4 out of 5 stars. Very confident there.
God,
10 times then?
that's a lot because I don't even remember. I think I've seen this once. You said you've seen it twice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
What-
feel like.
When did that come out?
Oh God, I have no idea. I
Like
thought it was considered a bad film.
No, I don't think so.
2001. Yeah, see, it's the average rating on Letterboxd 2.7 out of 5. So it's considered bad.
Not great.
It's directed by Michael Bay. That's what I thought. The guy that did Transformer.
We'd have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's probably it's 3 hours long.
Okay, we won't.
Gosh, it kind of bring it all around to Godzilla. You know, this is the last. This is it. Okay, this week it's a bit different because we normally watch a spotlight film, which is a film that is directly connected to our main film. So this week, Porting is our main film. The spotlight film we wanted to do was The Favorite, which we did watch, but we were such in a Yorgos mood that we decided to also watch The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Before we talk about those 3 films, let's rank Yorgos Lanthimos film. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna go with my favorite is The Favorite. Then I would put Portings. Then I would put Killing of a Sacred Deer, and then The Lobster. I do think there's chances that the fact that I just saw Portings, it's the recency bias might make me feel like I like it more than I want. And I do think that if I rewatch The Killing of a Sacred Deer, there's chances that those 2 films get close to each other. The Favorite is my favorite, then Portings, then Killing of a Sacred Deer, then The Lobster. What about you?
So my favorite is Poor Things, and then The Favorite, The Lobster, and The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Let's talk
about The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yes.
2017.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell and
Barry
Nicole
Keoghan. Nicole Kidman, one of my favies.
That was a very weird and disturbing movie.
I love it.
Very interesting, but
So quickly, Colin Farrell is a surgeon, and we learn slowly that he had alcohol problem, and that he might actually have killed a man because he was
a patient,
because he was doing a surgery while either
under
hangover
the
or actually
influence.
drunk.
Yeah.
And at some point, the son of that man is kind of part of his life, and seeing him, and Colin Farrell is seeing him to kind of try to, kind of like make sure he's fine. Obviously, care for him, try to help him out.
But things
go wrong.
Yeah.
And it becomes a very abstract film that has a lot of,
well, not abstract.
Well,
it's very concrete, but you kind of don't know why things are happening.
Yeah. So
that's the abstract
there's a lot
part.
of metaphor, and there's a lot of things that aren't told and are never told, just left up to interpretation. And I think this is where I guess you didn't like that as much as I did.
Well, it kind of bothered me because what bothered me is that everything that was happening to his family, to his children in the first place, was caused by Barry Keoghan, but with no logical explanation.
Yeah, so
in the time of the movie, so you kind of have to look up the name of the movie that gives you clues to understand what Barry Keoghan stands for in this movie. And it's not, well, to me, it wasn't obvious.
And to me as well. Like I guess
we didn't figure it out in the end. We had to watched.
Not the exact explanation, but I think I had an idea of what it could mean, and I was not really that close.
You weren't sure though, because you were thinking, okay, maybe this is not happening in this time. Maybe he's hallucinating.
So what I know is that, what I knew is that Yorgos Lanthimos tend to have story that seems to be based in the real world, but there's always 90% real, 10% not real. Mm-hmm. But it's always it's a twisted version of reality.
Right.
So in my head, I was like, okay, so there's
a twist there that we have to understand.
Same thing with the lobster, where it happened in a world that seems normal, like our everyday world, but there's one thing that is just no, it's not the same.
To me though, in the lobster, it was more explained. So just quickly, in the lobster, if you don't,
if you become single
and you can't find a relationship,
you have 30 days to find a partner,
you become a lobster.
Well, no, you have to pick an animal. You pick the animal you want. Yeah.
And so that was clearly explained in the lobster, but the killing of a sacred deer doesn't answer those questions.
I like that.
I understand, but the end is very tragic.
I like it.
Very dark. I liked it. It was okay. Okay, no. In the first place, I was frustrated and I didn't love it. And then we did more research and found out that Barry Keoghan represents God. And it's his judgment day.
I like how it's somewhat similar to some of the theme from The Favorite. In The Favorite and in Killing a Sacred Deer. So Killing a Sacred Deer, you have Colin Farrell that have a God complex, that believe he's above a certain amount of people. And in
everyone.
Well, yeah, he has a God complex. And in The Favorite, you also have multiple characters that believe that they are better or smarter or take advantage of someone in a position of power, and believe that they actually are able to manipulate that person. And at the end, both those characters are basically being told, no, there is someone above you, and you are below that person. And in the Killing of Sacred Deer, you have basically Barry Keoghan, who represent God, making Colin Farrell pay for his sin. And in The Favorite, you have the Queen basically pushing Emma Stone back down to where she belonged, taking back her power over Emma Stone.
I was about to say, I wish that I had done the research before seeing the movie, because it would have helped me understand more what was going on. But then again, it's okay. I mean, I would save it. At first, if you would have asked me the 10 minutes after, I was like, okay, this is burn this shit.
The 10 minutes after the film ended was a fierce conversation between the two of us.
I was frustrated. I still don't love this movie. I'm going to save it though, because I find it so interesting. And the fact that we've seen 4 of his movies, to me, he's such an interesting director.
Yeah.
He is so complex. He's so different and weird and interesting. I love him. I love weird stuff, but it's not weird just for the sake of being weird. It's smart. So yeah, but it's my least favorite movie that I saw of him, but I will still save it and give it a 3 out of 5.
I really liked Nicole Kidman in this as well. I think,
she was so good.
I mean, I loved her in The Other, one of my favorite film, and this gonna remind me of the same character, very similar vibe, horror, thriller, and I was on for the ride. Big save for me as well. Yes. This was a great 2 weeks. I think we haven't watched. I mean, Shin Godzilla you didn't love. I still like it. I would save that. And I feel like we watched something else, but we just didn't even finish it. But I can't remember now.
Let's move on to the favorite,
and
2018.
This is my favorite.
With Emma Stone. Emma Stone in this movie is great. And also the other actress, what's her name again? Rachel, not the queen,
Weisz.
But yes, she's great in that movie.
Yes.
Very, very good.
Overall, a great cast, visual, the opulence of Victorian era, the dresses, the music. Wow. And
it's beautiful.
I feel like a step up in the quality of in the richness of the decor and the sets to me compared to like The Lobster and Killing.
It's completely
different era,
completely different.
But I like Spencer, this, like those kind of film, like I love that. And the queen in there is just like a big baby that scream all the time and such an interesting character. I loved it. Like obviously this is my favorite one, I think, for Yorgos.
And Emma Stone is also very vicious in this movie. She's a brat. She wants to get things her way, and she's ready to do a lot for that, poisoning Rachel with tea and
like marrying the right man, and you know, all to rise through the rank. And it's funny, right? We were also talking about how Killing of Secretaries have a similar plot than Saltburn, like similar story, and I feel like the favorite, Emma, is kind of similar as well, where she's someone that's coming into like a very rich family and making her way up until she has power. Parasite too, yeah, a lot of those, right? Yeah, Emma Stone is great.
It was a great movie. I loved it too.
And let's just go straight into four things. Expectation go in before seeing it. What was your expectation? Did you think it was happening in the real world?
Yeah.
From the trailer?
Yeah.
See,
well, I mean, not the real world. I mean, because I knew that she was a creation. We kind of get that
Frankenstein
from the thriller, but from the trailer. But I was just, it's the world that they created.
For some reason, I believe, like my belief was that there was the black and white from the trailer. The black and white was real world, and she was somewhat of a prisoner, like Frankenstein / prisoner in a house. And everything in color was like either imagination or like Peter Pan kind of esque.
The moment when we first see her appear on screen is so good. So it's in black and white, and she's wearing most of the time long dresses. She's kind of learning to walk. And so once you understand why she's a grown-up woman, but she's trying to walk, and she's surrounded by different animals that are created, like say a French bulldog with a duck, and she's evolving in this house with William Dafoe, who's great in this movie, who created her. It was like one of my favorite part of the movies. She's so fun to watch. She has absolutely no idea how she's supposed to act, how she's supposed to eat, what she's supposed to say, think. She's just so free and innocent.
Yeah, innocent. That's the thing. Naive. She's basically never been affected by the outside world. She's a grown woman, but as if she was a newborn.
Exactly.
And one of the first things that kind of like shocked me was Willem Dafoe is eating at the table and suddenly he just burp a bubble and the bubble just pop. And it's almost, so it's not addressed at first. It's kind of explained later on. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, Willem Dafoe in this, like really great. Its performance. And there's a kind of circle of abuse aspect that his dad was like really not taking good care of him, like hurting him.
Yes.
But he's rationalizing a lot of the things that was done to him, basically just applying whatever his dad told him. And he continued living his life pretty much like his dad. You can say that he's actually doing similar things to now Emma Stone's character, Bella Baxter.
Well, he's taking good care of her in his way. But then she gets tired of being in the house all the time, and she wants to explore the real world. She wants to go outside. And it's so funny, the first time they go outside is, so there's this character Max that William Dafoe hires to documents and get some data out of Bella Baxter.
Yeah, just learn like how fast is she learning things, and
her hair growing, and what she eats and everything. And so for the first time they go out in a like a calèche, in a
chariot,
then you see like the head of a horse. It's a false horse with wheels. Anyways, it's super interesting visually. It's super creative. And they go for a picnic, and Max shows her a frog. It's the first time she sees it. And automatically kills it. Anyways, it's just, she's super funny and interesting, and she just wants to get out of the house. What I love the most about this movie is the Bella Baxter, the performance by Emma Stone. I love how naive she is. And because she knows nothing about the world and about social conventions, about how she's supposed to act, she's very unpredictable. She wants to explore everything. She has no idea how she should be acting, what is socially accepted or not. And that was so refreshing. So for example, she's just eating something, and if she doesn't like it, she'll just spit it out, no matter where she is, even the fanciest restaurant. She has no idea also how a relationship works, what love is, how she's supposed to feel. So she is so spontaneous. And it literally drives one man absolutely crazy because he cannot control her.
So Mark Ruffalo played a lawyer that decided to whisk Bella away on a trip. And first it's purely to like take advantage of her.
But she wants to go though, because she wants to explore.
She wants to explore. For her, it's just a way to get out of the house with Willem Dafoe.
Right.
Fall in love with her. He wants her because she's so different. But at the same time, he wants her to be different and wild when it's like convenient for him. When she starts sleeping with other men or doing things that she doesn't like because she doesn't really follow the rule of society.
She wants to explore.
He gets mad, but he's kind of crazy about her, and you kind of follow them for a big chunk of the film.
And it's interesting as well because all the men character in Bella Baxter's life are trying to control her. Except one, who's Max, which she got engaged with
at the beginning.
At the very beginning. She doesn't know what it means. And he seems like a nice guy, and he is a nice guy.
Bella will kind of go on this trip, and she go to Lisbon, and then she go to Greece, and then she go to Paris, and she kind of learn things about life kind of step by step. There's a very like one of my favorite part is when she's on a cruise ship, and she meet this old woman and this man that she's with. The man is kind of a pessimist, doesn't believe the world has much to give. There's no hope for a human, right? Like we are doomed for being kind of creature that
people are dishonest, sad, manipulative,
and just kind of be realistic. And he brings her to see kind of like poverty. Bella's reaction of seeing something so sad for the first time, right, is heartbreaking. It's really interesting. And even he feels bad for showing that to her.
And her reaction is so kind and so interesting because what she does is take all the money that Mark Ruffalo won at the casino and naively gives it to 2 employees of the ship for them to go deliver it to the poor people. And that's her first reaction, that and crying. And I felt for her in that moment, not when she gives the money, because I'm like, okay, well, obviously it might not go to the right people, but when she's crying in bed, seeing such horrible thing. Humans, we've seen so much pain and such dramatic wars and stories, and we lost
sensibility to it.
Yes, her reaction is very touching,
very pure,
and her whole character.
It's just not a type of thing that you see often in film. Yes, you might see a character going through a brand new experience, but we're talking about a character going through the entire life experience. She has zero notion of what a woman should be or society is like. What it's like to interact with people, what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. She starts from zero, and that gives you like the some very painful and real moment, but also a lot of the comedy is driven through that.
The way she dances, her reaction with new people she meets, questions she can ask them that is totally inappropriate when you meet someone new. But then again, Martha, for example, answers such in a great way. And
I think one of the things that the movie explored the most is sexuality.
Her sexuality.
From maybe like first 30 minutes all the way till the end, this is a very major
important
theme and question, and a lot of... And the movie is just asking tons and tons and tons of very big questions. In terms of like having a movie that explored that many subjects and that deeply, it's one of the best execution I've seen.
And also once you find out in the very beginning, but she only finds out in the very end, what she is, how she was made. It's very interesting, very smart, and very Frankenstein, modern Frankenstein. I absolutely love this movie. Visually, it is beautiful. I want to own every outfit she's wearing. We even came out of the theater. I'm like, okay, I need a blue sweater.
And the music.
Yes.
Gosh, the music is insane. Like, you don't hear stuff like this. It's not just great music.
A lot of sounds. Just
weird and kooky. It almost, and visually, like you said, the costume, but like the decor, houses, the color. Sometimes it's like almost too much. It's so like
in Lisbon.
Yeah, it's overpowering, but like in a gorgeous way. The attention to detail, like the house where she lives with Willem Dafoe there's so many things that I feel like you need to watch 2 or 3 times to get everything. There's even shots at the end during the I don't know if you saw, but there's a bunch of shots for the credit to roll, and they show parts of the house. One thing that I love in the house is their living room, instead of having a carpet, the entire floor is a couch.
Yes.
And it's so funny. They're just sitting on the floor, but like the entire thing is a couch, just like cushion on the floor. This is the type of thing that you have a director that the vision is just whoom. Like he knows what he wants. He knows, like it feels research. It feels like something that he spent time thinking about. Everything is cohesive. Everything works together very well.
And we also talked about there's one kind of big part of the movie where Bella experiences something that I won't say.
I think you can say it.
Yeah?
Prostitution.
Yeah. So they have no more money, and Bella is trying to find work, and this old lady kind of introduces her to prostitution. I wish she didn't have to go through it.
Yeah.
But I understand the statement that is being made, how society judges and perceive sex work as a bad thing, and if you did that, you're a whore or slut or whatever. Am I not supposed to say this? No, but it's and when she comes back with her final husband, Max, it's like, I hope you can forgive my whoring.
I think this passage of Paris, which is like the big part where prostitution is one of the big themes, it's interesting. I don't hate the message, but I think there was more interesting to do. And this is where the film
got a little bit long.
One of the critique is that it's a bit long. There's things that I think could have been tightened up.
I agree.
Even though I don't know where to cut. It's kind of like you expect it to kind of end, and then boom, like you have another 15, 20 minutes to go because this character is introduced very late, and he brings kind of another facet of Bella's story. And it was needed. And I love that part.
Me too.
The Paris section and the boat section,
I feel
long. Like it could have been tightened up.
But it was interesting, though. There's one moment when there's a client that comes, a man that comes, and all of the women are lined up. And she says very candidly, why don't we get to pick the customer? And that's so interesting as a question.
And it mirrors.
So interesting.
So yeah, she's like, "What wouldn't you want the person to sleep with you to want to sleep with you. And at the end, there's a mirror question that's very similar where she's with Christopher Abbott. She's in this marriage that is forced upon her. And basically, he tells her that she cannot leave the house or he's going to kill her. And she says to him, why would you want me here if I don't want to be here? Mm-hmm. And this is like a big question and there's just so many themes here. Like, it's going to be hard to like...
But it's one big theme at the same time, like about control and forcing yourself to do stuff you don't want to do.
And Mark Ruffalo character is a big thing on this. It's like he wants very specific things, but he also wants the craziness and the fact that she's not predictable and that she does what she wants. Mm-hmm. He like that. It makes it attractive to him, but at the same time, he wants the control. So it's like, I want those things regardless of what you want, but also, I want you to not give me what I'm expecting. It's a very interesting dissection of like relationship and human relation.
And I like that the director is a man doing a critique on how men act with women and the control and how society is trying to judge women, what they do, what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to act. Anyways, we loved it. Yeah. I loved it. I would save this movie, obviously.
Yeah, it's a big save.
And I would give it a 4.5.
Ooh.
Out of 5.
I think it's a 4 for me. Really, really enjoyed it. I think just visual by itself.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
It's going to be a hard film to get into, I think. A lot of people, it's going to be hard because it's one very...
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, I think the theme are confronting.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of violence as well because Yorgos has this gory aspect to it. Like, you'll see Bella like stab a corpse, and stuff like this.
But it's in black and white, so
yeah, it's not extreme. The sexuality is extreme.
Yes.
So this is definitely a 18, 16 maybe plus type film. If it was the first Yorgos Lanthimos film you've seen, that might be a hard watch.
Well, I recommend you see this instead of The Killing of a Sacred Deer if it's your first one.
It probably feel more... does it feel more kind of like familiar killer because it's in the real world? I feel like The Favorite is the best Yorgos Lanthimos film to start with, even if like I know it's my favorite one.
I agree,
but I think it's the best
most
one
accessible.
to get a feel of the vibe of the type of thing that he does.
He's so talented.
He's such a weird, awesome director. Like the best type of weirdness. It's not like pretentious weird. It's not like weird for the sake of being weird, like David Lynch. It's really
David Lynch.
It's really like proper, well executed weirdness.
It really didn't let me down. I loved it.
I have to say, I was expecting a bit more. Not a bit more.
Damn it.
It delivered.
What more do you want?
It delivered on everything visually, artistically, the music, the performance, the story was unique. I do think that I wish he just cut 20 minutes and make it like a banger. Also, I feel like like Bella number 2. What was her name? There's a second.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's it. Like nothing happened with her.
I know. They kind of created a second Bella
because they missed Bella.
Because they missed her. Yeah, that was.
And nothing happened. Like it doesn't. It's kind of a empty.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
I think it was a way for him to go back to William Dafoe and Max.
Yeah.
But it could have been done in another way. I agree with you. I
just wish that character. I was expecting something interesting there. Maybe like, regardless of what you do, she becomes exactly like Bella, where like
I guess.
But it's like
that wasn't possible.
This comment that that like regardless of how you try to switch off your experience or your context or anything, like human are destined to like end in the same direction, where like like something like that. I feel like there was maybe an opportunity there to make a comment, but it was kind of like not explore. Great film.
Yes.
Great film. This is the last episode of the year. Thank you for the 4 first episode of our podcast. We will continue. The first episode and the next episode, the first one of next year, is the top film of the year. We're gonna go down in our cave and like think about our top 5. Make sure, and then we're just gonna talk about movie we love. Great one to like just tune in and get a feel for what we like this year. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Have a great one.
Bye.